I'm going to do a card pull on the COVID shots. And I've had this idea of doing it, why not pull cards on the COVID shots? Because there's been a lot happening. Of course, a lot happened 5 to 4 years ago when they were administered. And I'm going to choose my words carefully here. There's a lot of fallout that still hasn't been accepted in the mainstream media. And let me first talk a little bit about those shots. First thing I want to mention is that actually these mRNA shots were military technology. I want to really mention that before we go any further, because a lot of people don't know that. So in 2013, DARPA, which is the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, which is basically the military branch, a highly technological military branch of the Pentagon, they invented GPS, they invented the internet, they invented basically everything. They invented smartphones basically because they invented touchscreens. They invented a lot of technology. They really revolutionized technology. And they also seed funded the mRNA vaccine. So in 2013, DARPA, this huge part of the military industrial complex, funded an unknown company, Moderna, to develop their concept of messenger RNA. So it's basically military technology that has been, developed by Moderna. Of course, we all know Moderna and Pfizer, they created the shots, right? So, I'm going to quote here a quote from the mainstream news. If you don't believe me, a mainstream article from the paper The Economist in 2021. I'm going to quote it for you guys here. Using messenger RNA to make vaccines was an unproven idea. But if it worked, the technique would revolutionize medicine, not at least by providing protection against infectious diseases and biological weapons. So in 2013, America's Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA, gambled. It awarded a small new firm called Moderna $25 million to develop the idea. So it's been proven, and even DARPA actually boasted with it on Twitter that they had a project called ADAPT, where they actually developed the idea. So everybody who's been injected with these shots is injected with military technology. And I'm not saying this to shock people or scare people. This is just the plain truth. Even RFK said that, before he was elected into the Trump administration. He repeated that on multiple occasions. It is totally provable. Even the deployment of the shots was done by the military. The military helped with that. So, there is a direct link between the shots. It's not coming from the pharmaceutical industry. It's developed by DARPA, which is also developing transhumanism. And there is a link between the shots and transhumanism. I cannot go so deep in that in this video. I talk about that in other videos and also in my interview with Thomas Meyer, which is also on my YouTube. And I talk about it in my book a lot, very in depth, in my book, A World in Transition, how these shots tie into basically transhumanism. But anyways, this is a card pull, this video. So let's start with a card pull. And I'm just going to do something very simple here because, I'm just going to do a past, present, and future pull. But I'm not as interested in the past and the future because we know what happened in the past and the future. But I'm still going to pull it to see what the cards say. But I'm especially interested in the future pull, just the general future when it comes to the shots. And I'm also going to ask about time frames after that. So that's going to be the general layout of this video. So I'm just going to shuffle you guys here. And let's pull a random card. Let's see what pops up. So this is for the past. I'm feeling this one. Then the future, I'm feeling this one. And I'm feeling this one. The present, I'm feeling that one. And for the future, I'm feeling this one. So let's see what we got here. I got them turned around, so they're still turned around. I don't know it yet, so let's see what it is. It is for the past, it is the 5 of Pentacles. Yeah. When this is like 2 people having a hard time. It looks like 2, homeless people having a hard time. So, this basically reflects what we already know, right? Insecure, hardship, poverty, loss of money or position, harshness, lack of resources. So this is basically for me, describing this general card is describing this whole situation we had. People were ostracized. It's funny because it shows like people outside in the snow. That's how I interpret it anyway. So people were being ostracized because they didn't want to take that shot. I mean, I remember me and my wife Meg. We had to sit outside in Belgium if we wanted to we couldn't go to a bar. We couldn't go to public gatherings. We were allowed to sit outside on the terraces, in the cold, but it was really ostracized. You know, they were pushing people so hard to get this thing, really pushing them. And a lot of people, you know, caved under the pressure. Even some people who didn't really want to take it, but they caved in because they didn't want to be ostracized. They wanted to go to their, you know, the football games. They wanted to go to the bars. They wanted to go to the restaurants. You know, I remember we were sitting outside in the cold, you know, on the terraces. At least we were allowed to sit on the terraces outside. But we were not allowed in. It was just without the passport, right? It was just crazy. So this is basically, this card is showing that situation. So, you know, this card is basically, you know, just confirming what we already knew about that time, right? It's really, really on point, this card. I mean, the way the symbolism of this card is showing exactly what happened with, you know, with a fair amount of people, you know, who didn't want to take that thing. So anyway, okay, let's look at the present. Let's what the present says here. And we got the present is the World card. This is a Major Arcana card, so very interesting. So this is basically, for me, this is reflecting a there's things happening. It's like everything you have worked for is coming together. Accomplishment, success, completion, synthesis, perfection, mastery. This is actually a very positive one. It's optimism, it's community. So I interpret this as a signal that the truth will be revealed. This card is saying the truth will be revealed. So I feel like in the present, although there's still a lot of, you know, the official institutions are still holding back, because there was a news article actually just 3 weeks ago that the UK government, this is from the Telegraph, that the UK government is withholding data that may link the COVID jab to excess deaths. So they still don't want to release the clear data that shows how much excess deaths this shot has cost. The fallout. And I personally think the fallout, I mean, I've seen studies, gotta be careful what I say here, but I've seen studies that the fallout is pretty bad. So this is, though, a positive card. So this is reflecting to me in the now moment that things are shifting and that, you know, there's positive things happening. You know, after 5 years, after 4 years that they it always takes time for the truth to come out. It's always like that. But I think the truth will come out and it will shock a lot of people that hadn't seen the truth before. So interesting. Okay, and then the future card. Let's see what the future card is. Ooh. This is the Eight of Swords. So it's showing a person, you know, blindfolded. Very interesting that, you know, for the present, we get the World card, but then for the future, we still get blocks. Disempowerment, you know, fears, doubts, fruitless overthinking, captivity. So this is showing to me, although there's a lot happening, it's kind of interesting that the present card, that the World card, is showing this positive, but then we may expect more blocks in the future. We can expect more blocks in the future. It's associated with the element of air, so communication. You know, disempowerment, fears, doubts, captivity. Although in the present moment, it seems like something has shifted with the World card. It feels like we're gonna get more blocks still, which is to be expected. Because there are those people that don't want the truth out at all. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that I pulled the World card in the present, actually. Kind of to throw me off guard a little bit, to be honest. Because I didn't expect the future cards. Because, I mean, realistically, we can expect there's going to be a lot of pushback, right? So the card doesn't surprise me, but the World card in the present, that's an interesting one. Maybe it's saying it is as it is, you know. It is as it is. It is as it should be in the present, you know. It is as it is. Because there's no way that the truth would have come out after 1 year. But I'm seeing... It's one positive card, because we had two negative cards, one for the past and the future. So we got a positive card for the present. So I take the World card as a sign that the present card as a sign that I think it's gonna come out in the end, but it's gonna take time. So, but for the future, it seems like, you know, there's still gonna be a lot of hurdles to overcome. So, you know, it's like you're blocked, but you can still take a step. So there's like a little bit of advancement. You're like blindfolded. You don't know where you're going, but you can still, you know, you can still take a step forward. So there's progress, but it's gonna be slow. But there's gonna be blocks and, you know, hurdles on the way, and probably sabotage, right? So yeah. So I wanna have like a timeline. So let's just ask, you know, a very simple card: will the full truth about this ever come out? And then I'm gonna ask about the timeline we expect it to come out. So let me just shuffle again. I just want to do like very simple pull. Will the truth ever come out about these shots? The full truth, will it ever come out about these shots? And I'm feeling this one here. Okay, let's see. Again, the same card. The same one. I pulled the Eight of Swords again. That is crazy. I pulled the same card. Will the truth ever come out? As the last future card I pulled. That is crazy. Okay, well, we got our answer, right? It's this is saying it's gonna take time. This is not a card that says, the truth will be out for all people to know. Interesting. So what I take from this is that maybe the truth will never be known by all people. Maybe this is what this card is saying, because maybe not all people will want to see the truth. Maybe that's what this card is saying. Maybe the truth will be out there, but because I asked, will it be known for all? Will it be known for the world? And maybe some people, have their blindfold on, and some people don't want to see it, and some people will never want to see it. Maybe that's what it is. Some people will never want to see it. Some people are so locked into their mainstream vision of things, so dependent on the system, that they may not ever want to consider, the fallout this thing has created. So I think this card is saying that it's like, it may not, all of humanity may wake up to this. And, I'm okay with that. It is as it is. Every soul needs to have his own choice, right? If we would force people to wake up, that don't work on a spiritual level. Every soul awakens in its own time. That is very, very important. We have to respect that. So I think this card is not all of humanity will be able to see the truth. And I believe it will be like that, because you cannot force souls to awaken. We can only awaken in our own timing, in our own divine timing. And some souls may not awaken in this incarnation to basically the real motives behind this thing and the deeper truths behind these things. Instead of the superficial, you got to protect, the slogans that they repeated. Because there's way more behind that, of course, as most people watching this video probably know. Okay, so very interesting. So for the last question, I'm just going to ask is, can we expect more revelations around this? Okay, I'm just going to pull, I'm feeling this one popping up here. So let's see. The Three of Pentacles. So this is about cooperation, reaching out for help when you need it, teamwork, influence, common goals. This says to me that it's basically saying it's gonna come from teamwork. So people banding together, trying to fight, to bring out the truth more, to cooperate. So this is saying to me, yes, this is basically a positive card, saying to me, yes, there's gonna be gains, but it will come through cooperation, through teamwork. Yeah, which is, like truthers, people working for, be also people in positions of government that are, because there are good people in government. I believe that, not everybody in government is bad. If you're on the top level, it gets progressively worse if you're really at the top. But I feel like this is saying, I feel the truth will be known, but it will not be known by all people. That's what the cards are saying, and that makes kind of sense to me. That's what I feel the cards are saying. It comes down to to who is ready to awaken and who's not, right? Because there's so much information already out there that the truth is out there to see. Actually, the truth is already out there, and it's kind of a naive illusion to think that the whole world is gonna wake up, because some people are not. That is just the truth. Some people are not. Not everybody is a soul that's gonna awaken in this incarnation. And that is as it is, it is maybe that's the world card, It is as it is, and it is fine as it is. So anyway, very interesting read here. And actually, this is also how I kind of see it, is there's not going to be this big, world leaders saying, oh, the vaccine was this or that, or there was huge fallout from the vaccine. It ain't going to happen like that. The truth is out there, but we do want to see it. And they're not going to force feed the truth through the media to us. Not at all. So very interesting. So if you like my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to be doing more videos. I also have other form videos where I talk about metaphysical subjects, about spirituality. I've got a video coming up in 2 days about, I'm going to talk about timelines. Also very interesting in relationship to this subject. Are we all going to share the same future? What's going to happen to our souls? So I'll be releasing that video soon. So I'm doing 3 videos a week, 1 live show on Sunday, 1 conspiracy card pull on Tuesday, and then 1 video where I talk about conspiracy, metaphysics, reality on Thursday. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye bye.